Ho ho ho! Merry Christmas!
Time to open those presents. Let me know what you got for Christmas in the comments below. And while you're doing that, I want to show you my Christmas present, which I absolutely love. Can you guess what it is yet? It might actually be my favorite Christmas present ever. To give it its full name, it's the BESTARC MIG145 Generation 9 3-in-1 welder. Now let me show you how good of a deal this welder actually is. First up, we get the MIG torch. Then the instruction manual, which you'll surely need. It can function in a gas and gasless configuration. However, you do get the gas hose included just in case you want to delve deeper into MIG and TIG welding. You also get all the equipment needed in order to use it for regular electrode welding. And you get loads of other accessories in order to start you off on your welding journey. I did say this is a 3-in-1 welder. However, the TIG torch is sold separately and is not included in the kit. Now sit back, relax, and watch how easy this is to set up. And bear in mind, this is the most difficult part of setting this up. For all the other types of welding, you just need to switch a couple of cables around. Ready to MIG weld. But before trying it out properly, let's look at some of its competition in the form of Parkside welding machines. I've put a little graph together of the BESTARC against some of the Parkside stuff. The BESTARC is a 3-in-1 welder, meaning it can do MIG, TIG, and stick. Parkside has cheaper welders, which can do one of these at a time, or a more expensive welding machine, which can do all three. And only the expensive one can do both gas and gasless welding. At the time of making this video, BESTARC have a sale going on, so their welder is priced at around 135 euros, which I think you'll agree is a very competitive price for what it offers. Now let's see if we can give it a proper test, starting with thin pieces of metal that need to be welded together. Here you see my first MIG weld, and you see a lot of splatter. That is because I'm using gasless MIG. If you use a shielding gas with this weld, you will not get this sort of splatter. But still, a grinder to the rescue. As I mentioned, this thing is only about 1mm thick, so a difficult task for an inexperienced welder such as myself. MIG welding is very good at bridging gaps together. You can also do this with an electrode. However, the average person will find it a lot easier to do with a MIG welder. Don't forget, this is the Broke Life, and I'm welding with a flux wire. These welds look a lot better if a shielding gas is used. So if you do the good stuff, such as like, comment, and subscribe, I will make sure to purchase a gas bottle and repeat the tests. Now to make it look presentable, with the help of my grinder. Time to compare MIG and stick welding using this piece of metal. As the smolder supports both of these welding methods, I think this could be a nice little experiment. First up, let's stack weld it in a couple of places so it sits right, and then we'll MIG weld one side and stick weld the other side. Starting with the MIG welded side, using gasless MIG and 1mm flux welding wire. It goes without saying that I am no expert welder. My welding experience comes down to watching a couple of TikTok videos. However, at least they were the decent kind that said that as a beginner welder, it's best to go for a strong weld and not a good looking weld. Took that advice well, didn't I? Now onto the stick welded side, or MMA as its proper name is. To achieve the same results I did with a single MIG pass, I had to go twice with the electrode, because I had to make sure I was filling in the gaps nicely. The MIG is for sure the easier way to do things. However, it is nice to know you can use an electrode if need be. With everything so far, I think it's time to talk about specs. This thing has a maximum amperage rating of 145. I tried it with 3 different flux welding wires, which were 0.6, 0.8, and 1 mm in diameter, and it can easily handle all of them. I also tried it with 2.5 mm and 3.2 mm electrodes, and again, the machine was great, and I was the weak link. Now you're about to see my first attempt at TIG welding. On top of that, I had no shielding gas, so just watch what happens. Safe to say that's not what a TIG weld should look like. Unsurprisingly, TIG welding is a lot more difficult than what it looks like on TikTok. At this point, a couple of friends realized I had a new welder, and they wanted to have a go. Now watch the following welds that they did and film themselves and tell me, who did a better job, them or me? I think now it's a good time to promote someone else's work. Here I've linked a video on welding from a person who knows a lot more about it than me. So you should definitely check that video out for a more in-depth look at the capabilities of the BESTARC welder. So this was their attempt at a MIG weld, and I have to hand it to them, this is a lot better than what I managed to do. And no angle grinder in sight. Now let's see how they handle an electrode. That may have actually been better than my attempts, to be fair. As for the machine itself, BESTARC could not have made it any easier. I love the user-friendly display and the intuitive button arrangement. As long as you've read the instructions beforehand, you can set it up with ease. You can easily spot the settings and change them accordingly. It has to be said that unlike with some other tools and machines, with this you really need to hold on to the instruction manual. That is, at least until you're really comfortable with the machine. It's a valuable resource on how you can set it up and how you can extract the best out of it. This machine has impressed me so much that I plan to use it as much as possible in my future projects. I just need to get my hands on some shielding gas as well. These are M20 bolts. I've tightened them to 200 Newton meters, 250 Newton meters, and 300 Newton meters.